Hello, my name is Jinzu and I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō, and we're reading Jinzu, just started Jinzu. Chapter 25, Mystical Power. And we're on paragraph 197. And some tea. That's still very hot. Great Master Tōzan Gohan, in former days, served as an attendant of Ungan, at which time Ungan asks, "What is the mystical power and the wondrous function of disciple Kai?" Then Tōzan folds his hands, steps forward, and stands there. Again, Ungan asks, "How might we describe the mystical power and the wondrous function?" Tōzan then conveys best wishes and leaves. In this episode, truly the mystical power is present as understanding the fundamental principle on hearing words. And the mystical power is present as things existing in the state where box and lid fit. Remember, the mystical power and the wondrous function will surely have children and grandchildren. They are not subject to regression. And they must properly have their founding patriarchs. They are not subject to evolution. Do not idly suppose that they may be the same as those of non-Buddhists and the two vehicles. In the Buddha's truth, there are mystical transformations and mystical powers of the upper body and the lower body. The whole universe in the 10 directions now is a real body of a Shramana. All things, from the 9 mountains and 8 seas to the ocean of Buddha nature and the waters of the ocean of Shravajna, are emitting water from the upper body, the lower body, and the middle body, and are emitting water from upper non-body, lower non-body, and middle non-body. This also extends to emitting fire. It is not only a matter of water, fire, wind, and so on. The upper body emits Buddha. The lower body emits Buddha. The upper body emits patriarchs. The lower body emits patriarchs. The upper body emits countless asimkayas of kalpas. The lower body emits countless asimkayas of kalpas. The upper body gets out of the ocean of Dharma worlds, and the upper body enters into the ocean of Dharma worlds. Moreover, the vomiting of 7 or 8 and the swallowing of 2 or 3 of the lands of the world is also like this. The present 4 elements, 5 elements, 6 elements, all elements, countless elements, are all the mystical power which is to appear and which is to vanish, and they are the mystical power which is to swallow and which is to vomit. They are the act of spewing and the act of gulping as momentary aspects of the present earth and space. To be spun by a poppy seed is real ability, and to be suspended by a hair is real ability. This real ability is born from and with that which is beyond consciousness. It abides in and retains that which is beyond consciousness, and it relies on as its real refuge that which is beyond consciousness. Truly, the changing forms of the mystical power of Buddha are unconnected with short and long. How could it be sufficient to approach them with one-sided intellectual thinking? In ancient times, a wizard of the 5 powers served under the Buddha, at which time the wizard asks, "The Buddha has 6 powers and I have 5 powers. What is the other 1 power?" The Buddha then calls to the wizard, "Wizard of the 5 powers." The wizard responds. The Buddha says, "That is the 1 power you should ask me about." We must investigate this episode thoroughly. How could the wizard know that the Buddha has 6 powers? The Buddha has incalculable mystical powers and wisdom. He is beyond only 6 powers. Even though the wizard sees only 6 powers, he cannot realize even 6 powers. How much less could he see other mystical powers, even in a dream? Now let us ask, even though the wizard is looking at old man Shakya. Is he meeting Buddha or not? Even if he is meeting Buddha, is he looking at old man Shakya or not? Even if he is able to look at old man Shakya, even if he is meeting Buddha, he should ask whether or not he has met the wizard of the 5 powers. In this question, he should learn the use of entanglement and should learn entanglement being cut away. How then could the Buddha has 6 powers, reach even the level of counting one's neighbour's treasures? What is the meaning of the words now spoken by old man Shakya? That is the one power you should ask me about. He neither says that the wizard has that one power, nor says that the wizard lacks it. Although the wizard discusses penetration and non-penetration of that one power, how could the wizard penetrate that one power? For even if the wizard has 5 powers, they are not 5 powers from among 6 powers the Buddha has. The wizard's powers are seen through by the Buddha's power of penetration. But how could the wizard's powers penetrate the Buddha's power? If the wizard were able to penetrate even one of the Buddha's powers, relying on this power, he would be able to penetrate Buddha. When we look at wizards, they have something which resembles the powers of Buddha. And when we look at a Buddha's forms of behavior, they have something which resembles the powers of a wizard. But we should know that even if what a wizard shows is the forms of behavior of a Buddha, that is not the mystical power of Buddha. Without penetration, the 5 powers are all different from Buddha. The Buddha's words mean, what is the use of you abruptly asking about that other one power? The idea of old man Shakya is, you should ask about any of the powers. You should ask about that one power and then ask about that one power. And there is no way for a wizard to attain even one of these powers. Thus, comparing the mystical power of the Buddha and the powers of the others, the words mystical power are the same, but the words mystical power are very different. Hence, Great Master Isho of Rinzai-in Temple says, a man of old said, the Tathagata's manifestations of his whole body were for the purpose of teaching accordance with the situations of the world. But, fearing that people might beget the nihilistic view, he provisionally established void concepts, and expediently spoke of the 32 signs. The 80 signs also are empty sounds. The existent body is not the body of the truth. The state without form is just the true configuration. You say that the Buddha has 6 powers which are unthinkable, but all the gods, wizards, asuras, and mighty demons also have mystical powers. Can they be Buddhas or not? Followers of the way, make no mistake. When Asura fought with God King Indra and on losing the battle led 84,000 followers into hiding inside the holes of lotus roots, this was sacred. This was not sacred, was it? In the example I've just quoted, all was due to karmic powers and dependent powers. Now the 6 powers of Buddha are not like that. When Buddha enters the world of sights, it is not beguiled by sights. When it enters the worlds of sounds, it is not beguiled by sounds. When it enters the world of smells, it is not beguiled by smells. When it enters the world of tastes, it is not beguiled by tastes. When it enters the world of sensations, it is not beguiled by sensations. When it enters the world of dharmas, it is not beguiled by dharmas. Thus, when a person realizes that the 6 categories, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, sensations, and dharmas, all are bare manifestations, then nothing can bind this non-reliant person of the truth. Though this state is substance discharged from the 5 aggregates, it is just mystical power walking over the ground. Followers of the way, true Buddha has no set shape and true Dharma has no fixed form. You are only fashioning images and inventing situations on the basis of fantastical transformation. Though you may find what you seek, those things are all the ghosts of wild foxes, never the state of Buddha, never the true state of Buddha, but only the views and opinions of non-Buddhists. That was quoted from Rinzai Roku, that whole passage after the verse. So, the 6 mystical powers of the Buddhas can neither be attained nor be supposed by all gods and demons or by the 2 vehicles and the like. The 6 powers of the Buddha's state of truth are transmitted one-to-one in the Buddha's state of truth. Sorry, I'm going to start this paragraph again, I was distracted. So, the 6 mystical powers of the Buddha can neither be attained nor be supposed by all gods and demons or by the 2 vehicles and the like. The 6 powers of the Buddha's state of truth are transmitted one-to-one solely to disciples of the Buddha who are in the Buddha's state of truth. They are not transmitted to anyone else. The 6 powers of Buddha are transmitted one-to-one in the Buddha's state of truth. Those who have not received the one-to-one transmission cannot know the 6 powers of the Buddha. And we should learn in practice that those who have not received the one-to-one transmission of the 6 powers of Buddha cannot be people of the Buddha's truth. Zen master Hyakujo Daiichi says, "Ears, eyes, nose, tongue, each is not tainted by greed for all existent and non-existent dharmas. This state is called to be receiving and retaining a 4-line verse, and also called the 4th effect. The 6 senses being without any trace also is called the 6 mystical powers. When, for instance, just in the present, the state is not hindered by all existent and non-existent dharmas, and it is beyond non-reliance on knowing and understanding, this is called mystical power. Not to hold on to this mystical power is called being without mystical power. Bodhisattvas without mystical power, as thus described, are of untraceable tracks, are human beings in the ascendant state of Buddha, are human beings who are utterly unthinkable and are just gods of themselves." The mystical power transmitted to the present from Buddha to Buddha and from patriarch to patriarch is like this. The mystical power of Buddhas is a human being in the ascendant state of Buddha, is a human being who is utterly unthinkable, is a god of just the self, is a bodhisattva being without mystical power, is knowledge and understanding of non-reliance, is mystical power not holding on to this, and is all dharmas not being hindered. The 6 mystical powers are present now in the Buddha's state of truth, and the Buddhas have received their transmission and retained them for long ages. Not a single Buddha has failed to receive and retain them. Those who do not receive and retain them are not Buddhas. Those 6 mystical powers make the 6 senses clear, in the state of being without any trace. As regards the meaning of being without traces, a man of old said, "The 6 kinds of mystical function are emptiness and are beyond emptiness. A ball of brightness just transcends inside and outside." To transcend inside and outside may be to be without traces. When we do training, learn in practice and realize and enter in the state without traces, we do not disturb the 6 senses. As regards the meaning of not to disturb, one who disturbs deserves 30 strikes of the staff. So we should master the 6 mystical powers in the state described above. Other than rightful successors in the Buddha's house, who can hear even that this principle exists? Others have merely mistaken a vain outward chase for the conduct of coming home. Again, the 4th effect is a tool of the Buddha's truth, but no scholar of the Tripitaka has received its authentic transmission. How could those who count grains of sand or those who wander astray attain this real effect? The sort who on attaining the small are satisfied have never arrived at mastery of this state. Only Buddhas have received it from each other. The fourth effect is, namely, the state of receiving and retaining a four-line verse. Receiving and retaining a four-line verse means the state in which, facing all existent and non-existent dharmas, the eyes, ear, nose, and tongue are each untainted by greed. Not to be tainted by greed is untaintedness. Untaintedness is the everyday mind, and is the state of, I am always sharp at this concrete place. The authentic transmission in Buddhism of the six powers and the fourth effect has been like this. If there is any teaching that goes against this, we should know that it is not the Buddha Dharma. In sum, the Buddha's truth is mastered in every case through mystical power. In such mastery, a bead of water swallows and spews the vast ocean, and a particle of dust holds up and lets go of the highest mountain. Who could doubt it? This is just the mystical power itself. Shōbōgenzō Jinzu, preached at the assembly at Kannon Dori Kosho Horinji Temple on the 16th of the 11th lunar month in the second year of Ninji 1241. Thank you for listening.